you guys doing today? Welcome to my channel. Today is a collective read. I want you guys to come in, take what resonate, leave what doesn't. If it don't resonate, then don't try to make it fit. I want you guys to come in and hit that like and subscribe button. If you are already a subscriber, please make sure you come in and hit that like button for your girl. So, what I want to talk about is the love of God. I think about how my Father is truly a loving and forgiving God. Um, I think about how He has come through for so many, you know, how He has shown so much love to so many. I know that a lot of people feel always say that if there is a God, why do He let this happen? Why do He let that happen? But we have to also remember that we all have free will. Hi, afternoon. We all have free will, guys. And a lot of us, God don't allow a lot of things to happen. You know, He can't, He don't mess with our free will. And a lot of things happen because we get to choose to make decisions for ourselves. We get to choose to be good or be bad. That's why God is always trying to pour love into the world. So many people won't get hurt. So many children won't get mistreated. Because if he could pour love back into the world, starting with us, then those things won't happen. And so many people won't be saying, well, God let this happen. God did not let those things happen, okay? Because we have free will on this earth. But if we follow my Father and we obey my Father and move with love, we can create love in our surroundings. So the people that we are around or the people that's in our circle can receive love, can move with love, can act with love, and they can teach their surroundings the same. Okay. Um, I also talk about everything that my father has been doing from day one, even before I got here, before um, others got here. When we go back into the Bible is about so many people's testimonies with God. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Job, Daniel. I think about Daniel guys all the time. But you know what I always ask? I always been trying to figure out Samuel. I always been trying to figure out Samuel, right? And I always wanted to know a complete story of Samuel. And I've learned today that I've been talking about Samuel for a long time. If those who know that's my subscribers, y'all always hear me talk about Hannah and how she prayed to God and asked God for a child. And if God blesses her womb with that child, she will give that child back to God, correct? Now, those who know me know that I preached this more than once. Hannah was married and she her husband had kids with a previous person, and that person used to make Hannah feel bad because she hadn't had no kids. So the other person always felt like she had the upper hand over Hannah because she had children with Hannah's husband. So Hannah went to God and asked God to um, give her a child, right? And Hannah told God that she would give that baby back. So when how you doing when Samuel turned like maybe I'm gonna say about 10, Hannah took him to the church and she gave him over to God, right? It was 5. Okay, it was 5. Okay. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I've always wanted to know the story of Samuel. Always. And my father God told me, you've been knowing about Samuel since the beginning. He said, you knew about Samuel when you knew about Hannah. And he showed me that today because Samuel was the child that Hannah gave back to God. And the whole time he taught me the story of Hannah, I'm thinking, like, you hear the testimonies, but now you got to dig deeper in it. And then, Samuel was chosen to always deliver the messages to the kings. Like when he had to go tell Saul that he was no longer king anymore, that God has dethroned him and chose David. Okay? Who was it that had two wives? Um, I can't remember his name. I can't I can't remember his name. I can't. And you know what's crazy? His name started with a Z, I think. No, no, not Saul. Saul was chosen to be king, but he started being disobedient to what God was guiding him to do. He started doing things the way he wanted to do it, not the way God was guiding him to do it. And he started letting his ego get the best of him. And he wasn't doing the things that God had guided him to do. So God told Samuel to go deliver the word to Saul that he was no longer king anymore. Yeah. And remember, Samuel was also the person that went and told Saul that he was king, and he had to go tell him that he was no longer king, right? So as I was saying though, Samuel, God has been, well, my big J is my teacher, y'all. Yahshua. Some call him Jesus. I don't call him Jesus. I call him by his real name, and his real name is Yahshua. So Yahshua is my teacher. So Yahshua taught me that about Hannah. Because I told him when I read the Bible, I don't quite understand everything in the Bible. So I asked my big J to teach me in a way that I would learn. And my big J have taught me Hannah, Rebecca, Ruth, Daniel, Joseph, Job. My big J have taught me almost everybody. Enoch, now which is Metatron. But when I was trying to get the idea of Samuel, he started teaching me today as I was talking to my father, and my father let me know that you've known about Samuel the whole time. You just weren't paying attention. So he started showing me again. And I'm like, oh, okay. So basically, what I got from that was when you make a promise to my father, you shall keep that promise. Because when my father make a promise to you, he keeps his promise. My father is not a man that shall lie. Okay? And when you make your promise to my father, you shall keep that promise. Keep it. Stand on your word with him. Do not lie. Because sometimes, don't get me wrong, we forget. But when that come back to you, like, remember you said this now. Remember you supposed to do this now. You shall be tested. My father will test you. Believe that. So I was praying to my father today, and I was letting him know that I stand on what I said to him. Everything that I said to him, I stand on it. I stand on it. I promised him, and I stand on it. I am a woman of my word. Okay? And if you made any promises to my father, you stand on them. Because you want my father to keep his word to you. So why shouldn't you keep your word to him? Stand on it. Okay. Now, I've also wanted to talk about the promises. I have been slacking on paying and haven't taken my time. You say paying or praying? Because I want to talk about, I'm glad that you actually, if you were saying praying, but then you accidentally put paying, I'm actually glad that you did that. Because my father came to me with the message today about paying tithes. They want to talk about that. Okay, Father, let's talk about it then. Because my father said there was this pastor. Somebody, he went viral for something that he said on social media, like somebody was recording him or something. And he said that feeding the homeless does not mean that you are paying your tithes. That's what he said. And I said, say what now? He said, what you choose to do out there with the homeless don't got nothing to do with your tithes. And I thought about that. And I felt like it was kind of like messed up to say, because if God blesses you and you choose to take the money that God blessed you with and give to another as a blessing, that is paying your tithes. That is. It ain't necessarily mean that you have to go pay your tithes in a church. Because everybody that needs help from God ain't in the church. Some people on the street, some people at work, some people over here, some people over there. So every person that need God's help ain't in the church, but that don't mean that that person don't believe in God. Because now Ruth, mother-in-law, they used to talk about her. What is her name? But if you know the story of Ruth followed her mother-in-law to her old town. And the old town used to get on her mother-in-law about her God, what she used to always say. And they used to be like, you don't go to a temple, you don't go to anything. And she said, my God is right here in my heart. She said, everywhere I go, I carry my God with me. And he knows my heart. And see, I'm also been hearing people been preaching that if you doing good deeds and being kind to people will not get you in heaven. These are the things that they preaching out here. And so I had to say, last time I checked, and they say the only way to get in there is to let my BJ in, which is Yahshua. Now, when you open up and let Yahshua in, right? Because you shall not deny my father's son, correct? So when you let Yahshua in, and the last time I checked, Yahshua told us to move from a heart space, to love our neighbors, even to love our enemies. Because the battle is not yours, it's the Lord's. Right? And he also said, do not judge, because only God can judge. And he also said, help those in need. So if you are letting Yahshua in and you are following the word of Yahshua and you are choosing to do as Yahshua taught us to do, which was move from a heart space, show love and kindness, give to those in need, do not judge others, and you moving like that because you following the word of Yahshua, and that's how you live in your life. You don't think that you got a seat in heaven? You don't think that. You're not harming anyone. You're not mistreating anyone. You're caring for people. This is your nature. You're not doing it to get anything back. You're doing it because this is how you want to live your life. It's in your heart to move like this. And you don't think you got a seat in heaven. When you was taught to move like this. Now let's not remember, when Yahshua was preaching this word to the community, not everyone agreed. You had some haters out there that said he was speaking blasphemy and he wasn't the Messiah and that he wasn't the chosen one and that he was not anointed and that he was not the Son of God, that he was a false prophet. Now, you got people that say, why God didn't save his son? Again, Yahshua chose that journey. When Yahshua sat at that table and told his followers that someone would betray him and that those things was going to happen to him, Peter and the rest of his followers that loved him told him to run, to leave. And if he leave, they will follow. And they can go right now. He said no. He's going to stay on this path and stay on his journey. And he said the people will decide. Just like the jury decide now, the jury decided then what will happen to Yahshua. And they chose for him to be executed because they were told he was a false prophet. Now you had some that believed in him, but it wasn't many. It was more of the enemy that said he wasn't real, and it was less of the ones who thought that he were. But when he left to go be with his father, he was still in those people's heart. And those people still preached his word. Those people still moved accordingly to those people still moved accordingly to how he chose, how he said we should be moving. The word of God. God wants us to move from a heart space. God wants us to show love. Those people still move like that. And that's happening right now. But you do have some people that's still stuck in the old mindset that say they listening to the word of Yahshua, but not actually living and moving in the word of Yahshua. And that's true. That is true. Those are people that have not quite got it yet, okay? But that don't mean that they don't love God. And that don't mean that they are not trying to walk in the right path. They just don't all completely got it. And that don't mean that we should judge them or look at them any less. That means that we should still be kind to them. Still be there for them. Because eventually one day they will get it. That I need to change my heart. That I need to do better. That I need to be more kind. I need to be more loving. Because the people you hang around the most shape who you are and who you become. So a person that always saw things negative start hanging with a person that see things positive. And if that person that's positive is like know their path and is like real thick on their journey and can't nothing and no one stop them from being in a positive state and nothing and no one can interrupt their peace, that good energy can rub off on that person that always thought negative. Because when a person pays attention to the negativity not getting them anywhere, and they see how being more positive can take you to a better place in life, they start to want it. Why do I ain't got to sit here and all this negative energy when I can love from a heart space, give my heart to those who need it, help people, give to people. Because if you create that type of energy around you, what you're giving out is what you receive. Now, I promise God I will pray and read his Bible, but I forget and play with my friends instead. Let me tell you something. As long as you are truly love God within your heart, and as long as you do take the time out sometime, like it's something that you have to, become a steady pace with. Not everybody read their Bible every day. That don't mean God love you any less. Everybody don't do that every day. Some people only do it on Sunday. Do that mean God love you any less? No, it do not. But you do love him, correct? And you do have him in your heart. And you do have faith in him. And you do give him the glory. So that don't mean that God love you any less. Exactly. She said, and I do. Exactly. And you do have faith in my Father. And you trust in his plan. So that's what matters. And all you have to do is learn to be more consistent with reading a page in the Bible, if that's what you choose to do. Or you can also just ask the universe to help you with things you need to know in the Bible. You can also just ask God to guide your steps and pay attention to the signs of what God is teaching you, what he's showing you. It's different ways to show my Father that you on board with him. It's different ways to show your love to him. You could do it in the house by just getting up one day and not going outside. You ain't even got to pick up the Bible. You can cut on gospel music. All the gospel music you know and love that you're going to scream and shout from the bottom of your heart. That's going to give you that warm feeling of God is holding you, loving you, caring with you, sharing with you. And you just screaming and giving God the glory. You don't do that. You can praise my Father like that. Because it's the energy that you're going to put out into the atmosphere. It's different ways to show my Father how much you love him. And then you can make that one of your rituals. Well, you can say every other Sunday, I'm choosing, Father, to stay in the house and give you the glory. For about 2 hours, I'm going to play some gospel. I'm going to read a page out the book. And I'm going to get on my knees and I'm going to thank you. I choose to do that every other Sunday. That's my promise to you. And you do that. Do that mean you have to do it every single day? No. You keep your word to him by doing something that you know for a fact that you can stay consistent with, especially if you like music. And you like to blast your music, you turn on your favorite gospel songs. And you blast and you scream and you sing and you get on your knees and you give my Father the glory. And that may work for you better than anything else. It's your heart is what my Father pays attention to. Okay? Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm sorry about that, y'all, but my phone was going dead. I'm sorry about that, y'all, but my phone was going dead and I didn't want my phone to down, y'all. Okay? Okay, so I hope that helped you. What's your name, Suzette? I hope that helps you. I hope you just got the message you needed when it come down to that situation. Okay. Now you asked me about Satan. You asked me about Satan. What is the story of Satan? The story of Lucifer is he was an archangel, and he had the most beautifulest voice. He was one of the most beautifulest. He was one of the most beautiful as archangels, one of the most beautiful archangels, and he had a beautiful voice. He was a musical archangel. He could sing. That's why the music is more corrupt right now. Pay attention to it. Um, he chose to not be there for humans. He felt like we were destructive, we were disobedient, we do not love, and he also feel like everything that happens he get blamed for it. When we have common sense, he knows what God has given us. God given us the common sense, and a lot of us don't use it. And I'm not gonna. I'm sitting here with you. Some of the stuff, or some of the way that Lucifer feels, some people actually do. Some people do make a decision to do something hurtful and hateful and then try to say that it was the devil. It's like this: God gave you the common sense, right? And God gave you a heart, He gave you a conscience, He gave you a soul to feel, right? Now, you have some people that don't use it, that care less. And they will say, oh, that's the devil. The devil don't push you to do anything, because just like the devil cannot mess with your free will, because God gave us that. Now, can the devil be tricky? Yes, he can. Can he manipulate? Yes, he can. Can he use people against you to do so? Yes, he can. Let me give you an example. So here you go. I'm gonna give you more than one example, but I'm gonna give you the prime example. God has told you, I need you. This right here is for you, right? If you do the work, you will have this, and it will be fulfilling, it will be joyful, and all this is yours if you do the work. Now, all I need you to do is stay on this path and do the work. Okay? Now, the devil walks up with his temptation and he says, you ain't got to do much over here. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you that. But see, you got to go in there and take it. Now, if you go in there and you steal this, you ain't got to wait for what God had for you. You just go in there and steal it and take it, and then it's yours. So you got to choose between doing the work and receiving what God has for you, or you have to choose to go in there, steal it, take it, and then suffer the consequences. Now, you most people choose to not do the work and go in there, steal it, take it, and that's what the devil was talking about. It's like we don't have people, and he did not want to protect us. He did not want to show kindness to us because he said we wasn't worthy of it. That's what he said. See, let me give you an example. Another example. Job. When Lucifer went to heaven to see our Father, which is his Father too. That's his Father too. All people on this earth, point blank, got kids that's just toxic to the motherfucker. You just got that one kid that you just be like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. I've done everything I could possibly do. Well, that's Lucifer and our Father. Our Father asked Lucifer, where have you been? He said, walking the earth. Back and forth, up and down, walking the earth. Seeing what's going on. And he told them, they don't love you down there. They only love what you do for them. And my Father said, no, that is not true. He said, that is true. He said, have you seen my servant Job? He loved me. He said, no, he do not. He loved what you do for him. And my Father said, no, Job loves me. And Lucifer said, no, he do not. He loved what you do for him. He loved that you gave him this and you gave him that. But strip it away from him and see watch he don't he curse you. See watch don't he stop praising you and don't he stop loving you. Okay. And my Father said, okay, fine. Do as you wish, but do not put your hands on him. He shall not be hurt by anything, but take it all away. So everything that Job had got wiped away. The money, because Job was a rich man. He had a lot of acres and land. He had all the animals you can think of. The sheep, everything. Chickens. Everything was wiped away from Job. The money, the land, the animals, everything. His children, including. The devil took everything from him. And Job cried. And he said, God, what did I do wrong? Job's friends came over and he told him, he said, hey, you must did something for God to do this to you. What did you do? He said, I didn't do anything. And he still praised him. And he still called on God. He still called on him. And the friends say, so you going to continue to keep calling on God after everything done got took it from you? You don't got nothing. So now he still called on God. And the devil went back to see our Father. And my Father said, hey, he's still calling on me. He still loved me. Lucifer said, well, let me finish doing what I'm doing. And my Father said, go right ahead, but you shall not put a hand on his head. Do not touch him. Do not unalive him. Lucifer said, fine. Now he done took his children away. And most of the time, when your kids get taken away, it makes some people start to doubt God. It do. And that goes for any type of way. It don't have to be death. It could be getting taken by another parent, grandmother, getting taken out of the home, DCFS, like something just actually going wrong to where your children get taken. Mine got separated from me. I'm experiencing my Job moment, my Job season. When I lost my house, I did. Well, I was trying to pay my rent, and the landlord told me, hey, I don't want your money. I just want you to get out. Okay. He said, I just want you to get out. So when me and my kids had to leave that house, we got separated. I've been waking up next to my children in the home with me all my life. But for a whole year, I was over here and my kids was over there. And it's still like that. Only one of my babies is around me every day. Both At first, she wasn't either. She was with a friend. My other baby with her girlfriend. My son with his grandma. We were no longer in a house together. I was no longer waking up to my babies every day. On Christmas, we called each other and then they came to see me. That tore my heart out. We didn't put up a Christmas tree together. We didn't cook together. That tore my heart out. But it was my Job season. And that's what Job went through. And then the last thing I think Lucifer did to Job was he started getting blisters all on the bottom of his feet and his hands and everything. And Job continued to cry out to God. And when Lucifer's time was up, to where he couldn't get Job to not love God, he had his time. His time was up. And Job continued to give God the glory. And he said, God ain't going to put me through nothing that I can't bear. And I know my father ain't bring me this far to leave me. And guess what happened? God worked through people. And the people all around the town was guided by God to go give to Job. And everything that Job got taken away from him, he got double that back. So y'all go through these tests. Because God always got to prepare us for what's next. Everything that God has for you is everlasting. We got to know to set boundaries. We got to know to say no. We got to walk away from people, places, and things that don't serve us, because some of us sit around a bunch of vultures that just want to take. And we give. And God like, no, I can't keep blessing you now. And you're going to keep giving it to the person that ain't even got your best interest at heart. Somebody that ain't even happy for you. Somebody that don't even clap for you. And there's a boundary that got to be set. Because God is teaching you to set them boundaries. Still love. But sometimes you got to love from a distance. Thank you, Father. You got to love from a distance sometimes. And sometimes you just got to cut people completely off. Because they don't mean you no good. They don't have your best interest at heart. And sometimes those people be the people that's close to us. The devil always use somebody that's close to us. Let me give you an example on that. Here you go. You got your man and you got a family member, right? You love both of these people. Your man know that he shouldn't be talking to a family member or a friend. Your family member and your friend know that they shouldn't be talking to your man, romantically wise. But yet, the love that they have for you, when God's showing them, you know better than that. You know not to do that because you know you love this person. But yet, they still choose to do it. They still choose to try to be sneaky. They still choose to try to dip off because they figure you ain't going to find out. But they ain't once thought about what if you do find out and how would it hurt you. At that moment, they only think of themselves. And they only want your person for whatever reason that they want them. It looked like an easy fuck. Or you're too happy for them. You're too happy in love over here. And some people literally say this. It must be the dick, or excuse me, but it must be that. Or it must be they getting good sex over there, so I need to see what it's about. Thank you, Spirit clarification. Yeah. And then knowing that it will hurt you if you found out, knowing that it would tear your connection with them down, they still choose to do that. That was the temptation that the devil chose to dangle in front of them. Did they choose not to do it because they love you? You were a blessing to them. You've been everything they could ever want and desire. They ain't been, before you, they was getting dragged, mistreated. Nobody showed real unconditional love. Everybody mistreating them. And they done went to God and said, well, God, I just want somebody that truly loves me. And then boom, that blessing. God like, gone on in. And then the devil see you so into it. The devil see you so into it. But he don't appreciate, he or she don't appreciate what you did for them. Let me show you how much they don't appreciate it. And he dangled it right on in your face, that temptation. And guess what? Everything that God blessed you with, you just destroyed it. Because you can't see the temptation that's in front of you is wrong. So the blessing that God blessed you with, you choose to self-sabotage and destroy it because you chose to not come from a hard space, and you chose to only think with your privates, and you chose to think that what they don't know won't hurt them. But one thing people fail to realize, if God blessed you with someone, that person, God gonna show them whatever they need to know about you. If you messed up and that person start feeling it and they go to God and they say, God, I know I'm feeling this. If this is happening, reveal it to me. If it's not happening, reveal it to me. Now, if that's asked, God gonna have to reveal it. Chosen. Yes, I've seen Chosen. Which Chosen? What show Chosen are you talking about? Because I've seen more than one. But yeah. So people don't seem to, they always say that. You say just Chosen. No, I don't know if I say that one. I don't know. I don't know. It was one that was called Chosen. I saw that. It was also a little cartoon one like that, the TV show. I saw them too. That's why I'm saying, like, which one are you talking about? But no, I don't think I seen that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. I might have or I might have not. I don't know. But people will have to understand that it's us. Lucifer is trying to prove a point with us. Us doing hateful things, us destroying what God has blessed us with because we can't control ourselves, because we're not loving ourselves and we're not acknowledging the love that God sent our way. Lucifer is always at work, but we cannot always blame Lucifer for the things that we've done because we have free will. And Lucifer is not controlling our free will. He doing tricky things with our free will, but we have to learn self-control, and we have to learn not to self-sabotage and love ourselves to where we are not letting things interrupt our peace and our happiness that God has blessed us with. My Father is a forgiving God. He is a loving God. He is a caring God. He is a giving God. Okay? And everything that you ever wanted and desired, you can receive. You just got to do the work. It's just like when you got your mother and your father on this earth, and your mama tell you she reward you for your good deeds, what happened? Your baby, when you graduate, your mama take you out to eat, you get a couple of dollars. When you do good in school, you get all A's, you get rewarded for that. That's how my father worked. When you are being obedient to him, you get rewarded for that. Because everything that he's trying to teach you, it turns into everlasting. It's not that it comes in and then it gets snatched away. No, God is preparing you to keep receiving this heaven on earth. See, a lot of people think that you can't receive heaven on earth, but you can. But see, when you start receiving or anywhere close to heaven on earth, the devil got to step in now with temptation. But see, when you got that stronghold and you a warrior, you gonna fight for and protect what it is that you love the most, and that's your peace, your happiness, and your joy, and what God has for you. You ready to go to war with the devil, and you don't play by his rules. You play by yours and God's, and you don't fall for those temptations. There's nothing he could do. Let me tell you something. When me and my ex broke up one day, and I was out there selling my food, it was this guy that came out there and sat with me every single day trying to get my attention. I'm talking about every single day. I didn't want that man. Was that man nice looking? Yes, he was. Very nice looking, and had a very nice conversation. He was like very smart, intelligent, and we would sit down and chop it up and everything. But I knew that was temptation being dangled in my face because I just came out of a situation. I just broke up with my person. And I don't need to jump under another person when I ain't even done with this person, not truly in my heart. So me jumping under another person when I'm truly not done with this person is creating soul ties, and I don't need that. If this person ain't truly for me, I need to release that person. Release them mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So when the right person come my way, I will be released of my past and I can move forward with my future. Some people don't do that. That's why some people get the temptation of the ex coming back when they in something new, and when the ex come back, because the devil gonna use that ex too to come back so you can fuck up what you had. Because you not already prayed to God and asked God, hey, I need somebody to, I want to have something different in my life. Then God send you this person and you destroy it because the ex that one treating you right, one doing right by you, come on in your life, back into your life. That was temptation by the devil. And you went with that temptation instead of standing 10 toes down and receiving the blessing that God had blessed you with. Like, you going on about your business. That's how you. But most people don't do that. Most people don't do that. Some people actually fall for the temptation, destroy what God blessed them with, and be out here looking crazy. And go back to their ex and go back to all that drama, go back to crying, go back to being mistreated, go back to the dishonesty, to go back to the cheating, to go back to getting their ass whooped. They go back to all of that abuse because it looks familiar. But what God had for them could have been boring, because this person wasn't arguing with them. This person was really trying to love them. So since they wasn't used to that type of love, they start pushing it away. People do this every day. But they pray for the things that they think they want. But see, God try to prepare you before it come to you. That's why he said focus on self-love. Self-love. Stop jumping in and out of relationships and just be by yourself for a little while. Stop looking for somebody to have sex with all the time and just be by yourself sometime. While you by yourself, focus on your goals and what you need to be doing next in your life to make your life greater and better. Stop looking for someone to love you and love yourself. Stop looking for someone to applaud you and applaud yourself. Stop looking for validations for others on what you need to do next and ask God what you need to do next. And see, don't your life change for the greater good? See, when my Father is active in your life, because you want him to be active in your life, you learn to allow people as close as God is telling you to allow them to get that close. If God say love them from a distance, you're going to love them from a distance. If God say don't let them in, then you ain't going to let them in. If God say you could trust this person, then you're going to trust that person. But see, if you're not letting God guide your steps and you trying to do everything on your own, then you're going to make 1,000,001 mistakes. And you're going to go through them mistakes over and over and over until you actually learn from them. And most of the time, people that don't take accountability for their actions and for their mistakes don't learn from them right off because they're not ready to take accountability. They're not ready to admit that they fucked up. They going to throw jabs and say, I did this because of this and I did that because of this happened. They ain't going to never say, well, if I wouldn't have did that, then this wouldn't have happened. Because that means they got to take accountability, and a lot of people ain't ready to do that. And they try to act like they're this good person. They put up this persona because if they actually admitted to all the wrong that they've done, then that mirror will come up and pop them in their face and say, yes, you did all of that. And then they will have to actually sit in their feelings and be honest with themselves. And that's a big part of change that a lot of people just not ready for. So when people think that going through the storms and learning these lessons is a waste of time, no, it ain't. It's God preparing you for what's next. It's God preparing you to sit at the table that he had for you. Because you're not ready to sit at that table. You're not ready to become a millionaire because you wouldn't even know how to handle millionaire money. You wouldn't know how to do the business because you ain't had no practice. Practice make perfect. You wouldn't know how to do all of these things if God wasn't preparing you to do so. That's why people say, I want to be a wife. Well, you need to act this one. Practice make perfect. That don't mean that you have to do everything that a wife do to a man, to her husband. But that means you need to keep your woo-ha to yourself. That means you need to control how you handle yourself out in public with others. That means you need to learn to love yourself, because how you going to look for someone else to love you when you don't even love you properly? You're not even doing it properly, so how do you expect for someone else to do it? I'm just saying. So a lot of people try to blame God for the mistakes and the things that they're happening in their life when they're not even taking the time out to take the accountability to change the mistakes. God can lead you to water, but he can't make you drink. He can show you all the signs, but it's up to you to pay attention. He can send someone to help you, but it's up to you to open the door and let them in. And you must do the work. God is just not fit to give you and you're not doing the work. Period. Okay? So that's what I have for you guys today. Please take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And again, my Father's love is real and it's unconditional. His guidance is real. Okay? And if you want it, just call on them. And if you're not for sure on what to do next, just call on them. And if you want all the information you need at that moment, then you got to pay attention to the signs. Don't be closed-minded to learning something new. Because change is a must. Because old keys do not unlock new doors. Okay? All right. Have a nice one.